remember that a person's name is to that person the sweetest and most important sound in any language. So when I always use the word Todd, Todd gets excited. Like Todd likes hearing the word Todd. Let's do this. We made it. How are you doing, Todd? How's it going? How's your week?
My week is so far so good. Slower week, but that's okay. So I've
slower week,
yeah, which is fine.
And anything crazy going on in your slower week? How are you doing?
Nothing crazy, nothing too exciting. Just trying to schedule projects that all seem to want to come in around the same time. You know, between people just taking forever to make decisions and pull the trigger, and you know how that stuff goes in these parts. People hibernate over the winter, and then all of a sudden they want to start immediately, and so trying to just do some scheduling to make sure I don't have a stressful summer and can enjoy my summer. But that's about where I'm at.
Summer's right around the corner.
It is. Indeed it is. Yeah. How's things out there?
Good. This week has been good. It's been a slower week also. We're getting ready to ramp up for our big projects that starts next week. And this week we had a leadership presentation speaking class through our association. So we went and did that yesterday. And it was presented by a person from the Dale Carnegie School. And we basically talked about how to be a better presenter / communicator, and just overall better person when it comes to speaking.
Okay.
So that was interesting. I thought that I was going to get more out of the class than I did. But, it's just like you have to go to these things because you never know what kind of little nuggets you'll get. Sometimes you won't get any, and that's okay. Because then maybe you'll meet somebody there. Or shoot, even if you just look at it from the point of view of just branding yourself, and that's just one more opportunity to get the name of your company out there in front of more people.
Mm-hmm.
The more times that happens, the more chances that it becomes more common. Oh, I've heard of that company. So
true. Yeah.
But the class was good. We got this cool little, I really like this. We got this cool little cheat sheet, booklet. I know the lighting is horrible. It's upside down.
The golden book.
It's the golden book. So in it, it's like a little accordion, and it's kind of neat. It gives you, kind of breaks down the one of the books, how to win friends and influence people, and then the other book is principles from how to stop worrying and start living. And it gives you, let's see, I don't know if you can get that.
Yeah, you're good there.
Yeah. So anyways, it breaks it down, the principles and stuff from the book. So for instance, that book, Principles from How to Win Friends and Influence People, you have 1 through 9, and they list them. Become a friendlier person. So that was cool. Little cheat sheet. So when you're sitting in your truck and you're about to go do a presentation, you can whip this out and just kind of remind yourself, to give an honest, sincere appreciation, right? If maybe that's what you're working on.
Mm-hmm.
And just remind yourself, these are I gotta elude, become this, right?
Yeah.
So
I remember listening I listened to that book. I did the audio book for that. The Dale Carnegie book. Yeah.
I read that book.
There was a couple of things in there, but it was to me, I was like, I already do all this stuff. I'm already a super nice person. So people already
oh boy, you got a lot of work.
There's just not much room for improvement. There's not much room for improvement.
Sure.
I have a whole bunch of other areas to improve in. That's just not one of them.
when you're already a perfect person, I mean, what else is there?
What can you do? What can you do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. The rough life of Todd. Maybe Todd should write us a book so we can read his book.
It's going to be shorter than that pamphlet you just pulled out. I'll tell you that. Yeah. I do like, though, I will say in all seriousness, and you had said before, like if you went to this, to hear this speaker, and if you don't get much out of it, sometimes I feel like the things that they do say, if it doesn't really register with you, or you just feel kind of just, whatever, is like, sometimes I feel like you are already doing those things. And sometimes that's just a good, like, positive reinforcement of just, yeah, you know what? This is what I do. I already do this. I already do that. And that's just kind of nice to hear that that's the way that some other people think you should be doing things. So it's just kind of a nice reinforcement of the way you may already operate in some capacities. It's always like that. I'm joking about me being no room for improvement there, obviously, but
you were
kind of. It's a little bit of truth in every joke.
Mm-hmm. Surprised you have such a wide angle lens to capture the big head of yours.
Nice. Well played. Well played.
So and then I also went to a pro show this week that Sherwin-Williams was putting on, which was, I mean, I'm not a painter per se, but it's always nice to interact with all the trades and see what's new in that industry. And again, you got to go to these things because you don't know who you're going to run into. You don't know anything until you got to keep putting yourself out there as much as you can. And yeah. So I was going there
fabulous painter.
Yeah. Well, I was going there as Plum Financial and thinking that I would maybe run into some painters that are possibly needing some help with bookkeeping and getting, growing their business. So that was the plan. And so went there and just kind of introduced myself to anyone who would listen and bumping into people. So got there. Plus they had tacos for lunch. So you have to go. Not going to pass up tacos, free tacos.
Yeah. I'd go almost anywhere for tacos.
I know.
Yeah.
Yep.
They know what they're doing. Yeah. They know tacos draw a crowd.
I got a very interesting breakdown on frog tape while I was there. Know a little bit more about frog tape than I ever wanted to know, but it was interesting. I've never used frog tape, so I learned a lot there. So I think this project, I'll grab a couple rolls of it and try it just because, the lady at the booth was knowledgeable and sold it on me. So I'll try it out. I like it because they have a bunch of different like strengths or, specific whatever purpose you're going to use the tape for. Right. And what I'm really interested in is their delicate tape. They have a delicate tape that isn't supposed to be able to. Yeah.
Supposedly won't lift floor finish. Supposedly. That kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
I've used the green.
Now,
quite a bit.
Yeah, but nobody, even her at the booth, said I would not put any of these tapes on hardwood floors. Like, you never know, and we strongly recommend not to put any of our tapes on, even the delicate one, on the floor. So
the delicate one was meant more for wallpaper. The delicate one, I think, is that the like pinkish or yellowish one?
It's the yellow one. Yeah, it's the yellow one.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, what I'm hoping to use it for is in the project we have, the paint that was done prior wasn't prepped well or correctly. So all the paint is peeling off with blue tape, like with just regular standard blue painter's tape. Even we're even talking about the trim. So if we put tape on the trim, it will peel off the paint on trim as well, which is usually always the safe place to go to put tape is on your trim, but not in this case. So I'm hoping to try that tape out.
Okay.
So, yeah. So like I said, you never know what you're going to learn when you go to these things, but you got to give it a go.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
good.
Yeah. Well,
okay.
Here we go again, Renovation Situation Podcast, where we pull back the layers of this complex remodeling industry. So grab a beverage. Let's get to it. I'm Joe. He's Todd. Todd, what are we working on today? Nice segue
Books.
from books.
Books. What are the good reads? What are the necessary reads for being in this business, or even just in being in a business, being self-employed? You brought up the Dale Carnegie book. That's certainly relevant. So that's a fair intro into kind of what we're talking about, right?
Yeah, let's start there with that book, right? So
you go ahead. You read it.
Well,
I listened to it, so I was half paying attention.
I read it a long, long time ago. Come on, but I did listen to it just recently, again, through Audible. So, How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. Yeah, we both listened to this book / read this book.
Yes.
It's just one of those books where you gotta read it. It's like a timeless classic book that is always relevant. And even if you don't have a business or you're not trying to grow a business, it's still relevant. The 9 principles, and I'm only going to do this with this book because I happen to have the little cheat sheet that we started with. So you're not going to get a summary of all these books, but this particular book, the 9 principles, become a friendlier person. Number 1 is don't criticize, condemn, or complain. And a little fact is, out of the 9, this is the only principle that is written in the negative, the don't do something.
That last one's
Number
hard.
2,
don't complain is hard. That's a hard one.
Don't complain. Yeah. And so this isn't just like presentations. This is like talking to your wife, husband, children, friends, Todd, You're just not supposed to criticize, condemn, or complain. Number 2 is give honest, sincere appreciation. So if you like what somebody's doing, be sincere about it when you appreciate them, or don't give it at all. I mean, if it's not sincere, then don't even bother, right? Number 3 is arouse in the other person an eager want. Number 4, become genuinely interested in the other person, other people. 5 is smile. It's amazing what 5 has done or could do for you. As simple as smiling. So I am not a morning person, and I wanted to just be in a better mood. I am crap. I do not want anyone to talk to me in the morning, like for an hour. Just give me my buffer for an hour. When I wake up, I'm angry. I hurt. Everything in my body is, for some reason, not happy. So like,
that sucks.
Everything's hurting. Everything's sore. Well, my back's killing me. Everything's crazy. So it takes me like a good hour for everything to loosen up enough to where I can now manage my daily pain and move on with my life. But I'm bringing up number 5, smile, is because what I've started to do, and I've been doing this for a couple of years now, every morning when I wake up, I'm laying in bed, and that first couple minutes before you roll out of bed, you're still kind of half awake. I mentally tell myself to smile. And just smiling before you get out of bed, it literally changes the chemical makeup in your brain. Like just physically smiling changes the chemicals and emotions and hormones that are going on in your brain. Instantly start feeling better. Like it's not going to take away the pain that I'm feeling in my body, but as far as just like feels, right? Instead of being roll out of bed and you're just like super pissed off.
Yeah.
Which is usually my situation. So I roll out of bed and I have to physically make myself smile. And I have to tell you, it is not easy. I do not want to smile in the morning. It is not easy for me to talk myself into doing it. But every morning, make yourself smile, roll out of bed. Everybody around you will be happier for it. And so will you.
All right. Good tip. Just trick yourself.
Pro tip. Yeah. A little, a little up, down, left, right, A, B, start. All right. I think anyone under 35 5 probably won't know what we're talking about there. All right. Number 6, remember that a person's name is to that person the sweetest and most important sound in any language. So when I always use the word Todd, Todd gets excited. Like Todd likes hearing the word Todd.
It's true.
We already discovered how big his head is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Plus, that's just good just to remember their names, right? That little trick, just as soon as someone you get introduced to someone, use their name immediately in a sentence, just so you remember it too, because I'm awful at names.
Oh,
awful.
Most people are. That's the thing. Most people are not good with remembering names.
But I'm glad it's not just me, Bob.
It's not just you. Not just you. Although I figured because you were perfect already, you didn't need any help in this.
Right.
Okay. So, a little tip, remembering people's names. So, we're not good at, like, generally people in general, most people aren't good at it. Why do you think we aren't good at remembering names?
My guess would be because when you first meet someone, you're kind of distracted by, at least for me, it's kind of like whatever you're going to talk about or whatever. There's just so much more to kind of wrap your head around when you're first meeting someone. What are you talking about? Why are you talking to this person? So that the name just kind of goes right through me. I just kind of move right past it.
That's bingo. You hit it right on the head. Exactly it. That's exactly why most people don't remember a person's name when they first meet someone, is because they're too distracted and they're about the conversation. They're already thinking too far ahead.
Mm-hmm.
They already are starting to think about, I'm being introduced to Todd, so hi, nice to meet you. But while we're interacting and exchanging names, I'm already thinking about what the next question is or what should I ask, because we're so afraid of the downtime, right? That silence. Everyone's afraid of that awkward silence in between somebody, especially if you don't know them. So don't be afraid. The way to remember people's names is to really just live in the moment. You have to let that all go and sincerely pay attention and listen. That's it. It's that simple. You will remember, and then reuse their name in the conversation. Oh, Todd, I remember you mentioned this. Whatever it is, right?
Right.
But just try not to get so wrapped up into, I have to be prepped and ready for, to have the 3 questions, when I meet somebody, because you won't remember. Not to mention, you won't remember anything that they're telling you because you're too busy thinking about something else. And all of this is going on in your head, right? So you're not only distracted that you don't want any of this awkward silence, you want to make sure that you're prepped and ready so you have another question to go. So you're already thinking about that, but then you just had an argument with your wife or husband in the car before you walked into this networking event. So it's like you're already pissed off. You're thinking about that. Something bad happened at work, right? The frog tape was the wrong color and now you pulled off some paint on the walls, or something's going on, right? And so you have all that going on in your head and you're distracted. And that's why you don't remember. It's not because you're a bad person and you can't remember names. It's just you got a lot going on.
Sure.
So live in the moment.
Yeah.
Pro tip number 7, be a good listener. Look at that. Just rolls right in. I mean, these transitions are beautiful today. And encourage others to talk about themselves. That's all number 7. So be a good listener and then try to get them to keep talking. Number 8, talk in terms of the other person's interests. So since Todd likes Todd, we could just talk about Todd a lot and he'll be happy. And number 9, make the other person feel important and do it sincerely. So that's this book. And if you haven't read or listened to this book, then you're living under a rock, and I suggest you move out of that rock and go get this book.
Yeah. I'd say I think the listening one is key in our business. I say that all the time. That people always have their sales strategies and their sales tactics and whatever, but a lot of people always leave out listen, and they just feel like, man, if you're not listening to a potential client, what are you doing? I mean, what are they really looking for? Are you actually going to fill that need or want? Listening is just huge to me. Giant part of sales that people tend to overlook.
100%. And as we kind of already alluded, these things are not business exclusive. listening to your significant other.
Listen to your significant other. Listen. Yeah.
Yeah. As much as we don't do that very well, especially if you ask our significant other, I'm sure they'll tell you that we don't listen. We try. So
it's all you can do is try.
Okay. So I know this topic books for our industry. Todd and I probably have a lot of the same books. So
there's going to be some duplicates. Yeah.
Yeah. So why don't we grab one of those duplicates now? Pick up one of your books and I'll pick up mine and we can show that we have the same book. Markup and Profit. There you go. Markup and Profit. You want to take this one?
So I read this a while back because I have a little sheet that I was making some notes on while I was reading this book. And I had my overhead number in here for that year. I don't have a year on there, so I have no idea when this was, but my overhead was only $16,000 a year. So it was a while ago that I read this.
I'm very happy. I'm very, very happy to hear that, because that meant that you read this book early in your career, which is exactly when you should read this book. If you haven't read this book, you should read this book right now for your business.
Agreed. So and I am not going to remember a lot because like I said, this was a long time ago, but I know if I kept it and I have it up here on my shelf, then I keep it up there. I literally have my books up here that are, I just think, relevant. So if I'm sitting in my office, I can grab it if something comes through my head or if I'm questioning something. So it's almost up there for a reference for me, Oh,
100%.
Yeah. So that's been up there for a while. Another one that I think we both have also is Nail Your Numbers. There we go. Nail Your Numbers. It doesn't even look like the binding is cracked on yours. Have you read this book? It's like
I've read this book. Look, I got look at it. It's all.
Oh, you highlight.
Yeah, I highlight when
I make little cheater notes and keep them in there.
Oh no, I highlight.
I do my little cheater notes.
Yeah. Okay, so what we didn't say is Markup and Profit. That book is Michael C. Stone is the author of that book. Markup and Profit: A Contractor's Guide. It just happens to be the revisited version. I don't know what year that was. That book.
I have
2012-ish is when it was.
I have seen that recommended in many a times through the year 2012. Yes, I've seen that recommended many a times throughout the years. Whether just a blurb in a remodeling magazine or whatever it might be.
That book should always be recommended, right?
Yeah, highly recommended. As is the Nail Your Numbers, David Gerstel.
As is the Nail Your Numbers. So Nail Your Numbers is Nail Your Numbers: A Path to Skilled Construction Estimating and Bidding by David Gerstel.
And he's written quite a few books.
Yes.
Yeah.
What's this book capturing?
So super quick. I don't, but same thing. I just have all my little notes and stuff. But same thing.
2017.
Also, I read this. 2017 is probably when I read it. So you're talking 8 years ago, 7 years ago. I probably read this book.
I know. I remember taking this book out 4 or 5 years ago, right when I moved out here. I took this book and I took it out and read it all over again when I first moved here.
Yeah. And same thing. This just sits up on my shelf just for reference. And I know we're not going through a whole summary, but just a basic gist. Some of the chapters that he has are just choosing the right job to estimate, asking a budget question, efficiency, from bidding to estimating. So it's just soup to nuts, everything that you should consider looking at a potential project, how to price that project, how to sell that project. It's all in there.
He even goes in talking about how to estimate, and that you don't need to buy an estimating software, that you can do it in Excel. And he even gives you examples of how to lay that all out in Excel. Yeah. Very good book.
Yeah.
I'm going to jump in on this real quick because I have another one of David Gerstel's book, and I don't think you have that one.
I do not have that one.
So
I remember seeing that, but I do not have that one.
Jumping in, another David Gerstel book, Running a Successful Construction Company. It looks like this, and it's exactly what you think it would be. It's all about from start to finish how to run a business in construction. Now, the year 2002, I believe, is on this. Yeah, still relevant today, people. It's not. This isn't rocket science.
Yeah, some things aren't going to change.
Right. But I think it's another good book to jump in on. He does talk about your numbers in here a little bit. He does talk about estimating and bidding. I think, Neil, your numbers might be a little bit more robust in that aspect. But what's also cool about here is he talks about contracts in here as well and the importance of having them. So he gives you some of that. And he also talks about project management in here as well.
Yeah. Nice.
So very good book.
Okay. Next one on me, I have one. I don't know if you had that one, but that's the Contractor's Legal Kit.
Ooh, that's a good one. I don't have that.
Yeah.
Yep.
So this I thought was a classic also. And like you had just mentioned, there's just a lot of different types of templates in here for short-term agreements, long-term agreements, big projects, small projects, hourly agreements, liens, warranties, you name it. And like we say all the time, this guy was actually an attorney turned contractor. So I assume he's got the legalities down pat. And like we say all the time, it's CYA in this business, right? So it's cover your ass, and if you're writing contracts, make sure you're covering your ass. So that's a great book to have as well. Again, just to have as a reference guide, even just a starting point for templates, and then you can kind of modify that as you see fit for tailored to your needs or the client or the project or whatever it might be. But great stuff in there. Great advice in there as well.
Awesome. All right, I got one. It's called Traction by Gino Wickman. I don't have it in person, so I'm gonna. Oh, you got it! Look at you! Yeah,
it's on my shelf.
Look at us. Traction. So that book, it's talking about operating a business, and it really talks about the EOS system, which is entrepreneurial operating system, the EOS. I know quite a few contractors that have jumped on board with the EOS system. It is an actual, like, you have to buy in on this thing, and people keep you accountable and help you through the EOS system. But if you're interested in EOS, then read that book first and then take it from there, if that's your thing.
There is also on that book, we had come across that at the KBiz show, the Builders show and Kitchen and Bath show. Mm-hmm. And the person that was giving that presentation, she actually travels and meets with companies that want to institute that system and will actually help you do that. Put all those pieces in place and really start to get the ball rolling and orchestrate all that to help you. So that's a pretty cool. I'm assuming she still does that. I don't know for certain. That's a couple of years ago now, but she was all about selling that and implementing that system. And he said, we'd just travel to meet you and sit down and talk to you about it. So I thought that was really cool.
Yeah. I know neither you or I are involved with EOS, but
no,
it's out there. I can't talk about it because I'm not part of it, but I read the book. It's all relevant and interesting and tidbits of knowledge in there.
Yes.
But all right, so I got a bunch of books that I think are all just helpful in reading. I'm just gonna jump on a few of these. So, Never Split the Difference. It's just a good book. by Chris Voss. I'm going to let you go and find out that book and read it for yourself. It's an excellent book. Another book is The 5 Dysfunctions of a Team by Patrick Lencioni. I really like this book. You know, you need to start reading books that are not just business oriented. I know the first few books we talked about, that's really getting you off the ground, right? Getting you started. But now we're talking about you needing to run a team, and you need to run a business, and that means people. That means you have to manage people, and you need to start learning how to do that, right? And in that, you're going to have some hard conversations, and this book's going to really help you with that. Crucial Conversations.
That's on my list. I've not read that yet, but that's on my list.
It's a good book. You should read this book. It's definitely helpful in terms of if you're going to end up having you're going to have these horrible conversations that you have to have with subs, homeowner, employees, especially. They're going to be difficult. And this is also helpful with, significant other and your kids. And it's helpful, especially before you're going into these crucial conversations. Realizing that it is a crucial conversation is the start. So, yeah. Now,
I like it.
The next book I have, I know I'm running through these, but I'm not going to sit here and summarize all of them.
Yeah.
The Unreasonable Hospitality. This book it got a little famous there because everyone was talking about the little story about the hot dog in the restaurant story. That's what's in this book. It's about just taking the next level, taking hospitality to the next level. And this is where I lead most of my overall customer service oriented vision for my company is just trying to exceed the expectation, right? And that's pretty much that book. And I think I got one more is now you have a business, you've had employees, you've had crucial conversations, you're learning how to manage these people. Now you have to build a brand, and building your brand takes the longest, is always the hardest, but the best way to do that is by a story. So Building a Story Brand by Donald Miller. I thought that was a good book too.
Okay.
I have a crap load of books. A lot of my books lately have been all just on Audible, just because of how convenient and easy it is to be driving around from project to project, whatever appointments you have. You can listen to these books and pick up your tidbits of information there, so you don't have to commit to a whole session. If I'm going to sit down and read a book, it's going to be some fantasy book that it takes me away at this point. A lot of these books that I read back in the day, I sat down and read them. But now all of these books I'm listening to them because I want to sit down on a Sunday morning with my wonderful coffee and read a couple chapters, and it's going to be some not work related or anything related. It's going to take me to a different planet with witches and wardrobes or something like that. Yeah. So.
Yeah. It's good for an escape. It's like watching a movie. Sure.
Exactly. Well, so you got any more books, or did I take over?
No, I had one more I wanted to bring up.
Yeah. Good. What do you got?
Which was the E-Myth Revisited. If you have not read this... I
listened to that book.
Okay. If you have not read this, I really liked this just because it wasn't industry specific. It was more just the idea of E standing for entrepreneur. So it's just, if you have that entrepreneurial spirit, there's just so many falsehoods and so many ideas that you have going into business for yourself, what you think that's going to look like versus what it actually looks like. So he does a really good job of just explaining that and laying out a lot of those potential pitfalls, like what you're going to get into running any business. One of the things we hear a lot in our business, especially the way I started, was the same way you started, just in the field. And you'll get a lot of older contractors that'll say, oh, just because you're a good carpenter doesn't mean you're going to be a good contractor. And I always hated when people said that, just because you could say that about any job. Just because you go to law school doesn't mean you're going to be a good lawyer. So I just hated when people said that, because it always had this negative connotation to it, like almost like, yeah, stay in the field. So it just doesn't mean you're going to be a good contractor because you know how to build. It's like, you might not be a good contractor. Maybe you went to school for, I don't know, project management, business. I have no idea what you went to school for. Engineering doesn't mean you're going to be a good contractor either. But I like that, just the guy's approach, and just, like I said, all the potential pitfalls that you're going to come across running any business. So that's a good one also.
The E-Myth by Michael Gerber.
Yes.
Yeah. Good session. Good books. I hope that helps.
They've helped me.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
They all have helped. Get your little nuggets of information from those.
Yeah.
And till next time. Cheers.
Yeah. Cheers. Salud.